If you feel like you're blending in with everyone else, you know the market's oversaturated, there's 1,000 people doing what you do, and the idea of figuring out what actually sets you apart feels momentous, maybe even impossible, stick with me. Because figuring that out is the thing standing between where you are now and your next level of growth. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the three biggest hesitations that I hear from business owners just like you about standing out and how to reframe them so that they stop holding you back. By the end, you'll have a shifted perspective and a real place to start looking for what does set you apart. So, this actually all started because I saw another messaging strategist say something that I completely disagreed with. Her spicy take is that you don't need to stand out. I agreed with everything else she said, which was along the lines of you just need to be clear enough that people understand what you do and how you can help them. And then I didn't really think much about it again until I was reading my friend Wendy Jacobson's newsletter. So her newsletter issue was about creating content, but something she said made me think of this spicy take. She said, here's a twist that will generate another idea. Take your point and argue against it, or write about the objections to your point and how to overcome them. Because you know there are some who read your content and don't agree with you. So this is a great way to demonstrate why you think the way you do. It's also a good tactic for reinforcing your point over and over again. So not only did I love this, but I wanted to apply it to that original spicy take that I heard. And it also reminded me we should always be able to defend our position. And if we can't, well, that's good information for us too. So I thought to myself, what if she's right and I'm wrong? What if standing out is not the best advice? So I tried to think of all the counter arguments I could use to prove myself wrong. So first, if people understand what you do and how it can help them, that should be enough. You shouldn't have to prove that you're different. Or, come on, there are a million messaging strategists, or insert your job title here. Can we really all be that different? Or the last one we're going to talk about today, if you grow your business through referrals or relationship, isn't this a moot point? So after answering each one, my convictions were even stronger. Here's exactly why each of these objections could be killing your marketing and some food for thought around each one. As I go along, if you've got any counter arguments or questions, please drop them in the comments. I'm always open to a new point of view and a great discussion. All right, objection one. If people understand what you do and how it can help them, that should be enough. You shouldn't have to prove you're different. Here's the problem with clear enough is enough. Clarity answers the question what you do, but it doesn't answer the question about why you and not the other 5 people who also do this. So think about it from the buyer side for a second. They're not choosing between understanding you and not understanding you. They're choosing between you and your competitor, who's also clear about what they do. So this is where people get it backward. They think differentiation is the fancy optional layer you add on top of clarity, like a garnish. But differentiation is what tells the buyer why it should be you once they already understand you. And without it, you're not simplifying their decision. You're handing it to whoever they found first, whoever's cheapest, or whoever a friend mentioned last. So be clear is not wrong, it's just incomplete. Clear gets you understood, different gets you chosen. All right, objection two. Come on, there are a million messaging strategies. Or again, insert your job title here. Can we really be all that different? Okay, let's actually test this. We'll start with something straightforward so that we can probably all relate to. So think about hiring a plumber to flush your tankless water heater. They probably all have the same process, same tool, same outcome, no matter who you call. So does that mean it doesn't matter who you choose? Not really. Maybe you pick the one with the 24-hour service guarantee because you don't want to wait around. Or maybe it's the one that everyone actually says shows up when they say they will. Or maybe it's the one that's family owned and operated. Now, if you're a B2B business owner with a high ticket or a high trust offer, it's definitely a bit more nuanced and complicated than a guarantee or a reputation for showing up. So you might be thinking, okay, but there are 10 other people in my case who look just as credible as I do. And this is where it gets deeper than a single sentence can solve in figuring out where you actually stand out from competitors who look just like you is its own whole skill. So I talked about how to start digging that out in my last video, which I'll drop right here. But even if there are really 100 other people doing what you do, none of them are you, your experience, how you explain things, the clients you've worked with. That's usually where the real differentiator is hiding. Not to mention, we're all the same isn't a fact about the industry. It's usually a diagnosis of your own positioning. If you can't tell me what makes you different, it's not because it doesn't exist. It's just because you haven't yet done the work to figure out what that differentiator. So the real question isn't, can we really all be that different? It's, what's my onlyness? What's the thing people can only say about me? So before I move on to that last objection, if these insights are useful to you, this is exactly the kind of thing I dig into every week in my newsletter. The link to subscribe is below. Okay, so for the final one, objection, if you grow your business through referrals or relationships, isn't this a moot point? I get why this feels true. If someone already trusts you enough to refer you, it seems like your positioning did its job before you even said a word. But think about what's actually happening in that referral conversation. Whoever's referring you isn't just saying, hire this person. They're finishing that sentence with something like, hire this person because. Maybe it's because she actually gets small business owners, or because she's the only one who explained pricing in a way that made sense. That because is your positioning. And if you haven't defined that because yourself, then your referral source fills it in, they fill in that blank with whatever's easiest, which is usually just your job title. You should call my friend Tammy. She's an accountant. That's technically true, but it's not doing you any favor because now you're being referred to as one of many, not as the one. You also don't know how many times you were referred and the person never called you. It wasn't because they didn't need help or because they didn't trust the referral, but it's because they didn't understand why they should call you to be the person to help them. The value wasn't evident enough. There was nothing compelling enough to make you stand out in their mind. Relationships absolutely get you in the door, but they don't make the case for why it should be you. Okay, so what was my consensus after going through all three of these? Yes, you do need to stand out. And before you picture some bold, flashy, contrarian version of that, that's not what standing out means. Standing out isn't about being loud. It's about being memorable enough that people understand why they choose you over every other option in front of them. So the business people choose isn't always the one that's the best at what they do. It's the one who most clearly communicates how they help you and why you should choose them. So if all you're doing is communicating clearly, hey, that's great, but you're not taking yourself out of the comparison pool by doing that. So here's a place to start. Ask. Ask recent clients why they chose you specifically over the other options they have. Ask people who've referred you why they picked you to send someone to. Those answers will start to show you what actually sets you apart. Because guessing is where most of us get stuck. We assume we know why people choose us, and that assumption is exactly what keeps us from being able to say it clearly. So if you want to go deeper on how to actually find out what sets you apart, check out this video next.